So picture this. You've just backed the losing horse in a massive civil war. Your guy is done for, and the new guy in charge has you at the top of his list. What do you do? Well, today we're diving into an absolutely wild story from Josephus's The Jewish War. It's about a king who, facing what looked like certain death, decided to make one of the most audacious gambles in history by walking right up to his enemy.
All right, so let's set the stage. The year is 31 BCE, and the Battle of Actium has just changed everything. The Roman world has a new boss, Caesar, who you probably know better as the future Emperor Augustus. His rival, the famous Mark Antony, is toast. And that puts our main character, King Herod of Judea, in a really, really bad spot. See, Herod was Antony's guy, his steadfast friend. And now that loyalty looks less like a virtue and more like a death sentence.
So yeah, for Herod, this isn't just a political headache. We're talking about a full-blown existential crisis. For Caesar, the new top dog, his victory isn't really complete as long as a powerful regional king like Herod is still hanging around, loyal to the old regime. So the big question on everyone's mind is, what's Herod's next move? Does he run for the hills? Does he try to fight a war he knows he can't win? Or does he do something completely unexpected?
Well, Herod chose what has to be the gutsiest option on the table. Instead of hiding or fighting, he decides to walk right into the lion's den. He literally sails to Rhodes, where Caesar is holding court, to meet the most powerful man in the world face to face. Can you imagine? This was a gamble on a scale that is just mind-boggling.
And get this, the way he shows up is pure political theater. He takes off his crown, his diadem, the ultimate symbol of his power. It's a clear signal to Caesar, I respect your victory. But Josephus makes a point of telling us he still carried himself like a king. So this isn't some weak, groveling plea. It's a calculated act of humility, but from a position of strength. What a way to make a first impression.
Okay, and this is where it gets really good. What happens next is one of the boldest, most brilliant speeches you'll ever hear about. Herod is not there to beg for his life. He's not there to make excuses. He is there to make a case, to argue for his own character, even though that very character is the reason he's in this mess in the first place.
I mean, this is just genius. He doesn't try to hide anything. He's like, yep, I was with Antony. I gave him money. I gave him soldiers. I gave him my best advice. But then the pivot is just spectacular. He tells Caesar to judge him not on who his friend was, but on how good of a friend he was. It's an incredible pitch. He's basically saying, you're right, I was fiercely loyal to your enemy. Now, just imagine what it would be like to have that kind of loyalty working for you. He takes his biggest weakness and flips it into his greatest strength.
So this is the moment, right? Everything is on the line. How is Caesar going to take this? Is he going to see it as pure treason from an enemy's ally? Or is he going to see it as a demonstration of a quality that's incredibly rare and incredibly valuable? The fate of Herod and all of Judea hangs on this one single decision.
Well, Caesar's response was, in its own way, just as brilliant as Herod's speech. It was a masterclass in smart politics. He heard Herod's argument, and he didn't see an enemy. He saw an opportunity.
Wow. Just wow. Caesar doesn't just let him off the hook. He praises him. He praises him for the exact thing that put him in mortal danger in the first place, his loyalty, his fastness of friendship. Caesar is basically saying Antony was an idiot for not valuing a friend like you. Well, his loss is going to be my gain. He understood that a man who's that loyal to a friend who lost is going to be unbelievably loyal to a powerful new friend who won. And then comes the action that seals the deal. Caesar takes that crown that Herod had removed and places it right back on his head. It's this incredibly powerful symbolic moment. What could have been, and probably should have been, an execution turns into a recoronation. An enemy becomes a key ally right then and there.
And listen, Caesar's newfound respect for Herod wasn't just about words or gestures. Oh no. It came with cold, hard, tangible rewards. We're talking a massive upgrade. Herod didn't just survive this encounter, he was about to become more powerful than he ever could have imagined.
Just take a look at this list. It's incredible. First, Caesar gives him back all the land that Cleopatra had managed to take from him. But then he starts adding to it. Gadara, Samaria, the critical port cities on the coast. All of a sudden, Herod's kingdom is huge. He's not just some local king anymore. He's a genuine regional powerhouse, all thanks to Rome.
And as if all that land wasn't enough, check this out. Caesar gives Herod his own personal bodyguard of 400 elite Galatian soldiers. And here's the kicker. These were the same guards that used to protect Cleopatra. Talk about a twist. This is more than just a gift of troops. It's a massive symbol of trust. It's Caesar's way of saying, you're one of us now.
And the gravy train didn't stop there. A little later on, there was this region, Trachonitis, that was full of bandits and causing problems. So what does Caesar do? He just takes the land away from the guy who couldn't control it and hands it over to Herod. Why? Because Caesar knew Herod would get the job done. He trusted him to establish security and keep the peace, Roman style.
But this was the real peak. Eventually, Caesar made Herod the procurator for the entire province of Syria. Now, that's basically like being the chief administrator for a huge, important territory. It meant that no other Roman official could make a move in the region without getting his input first. Think about that journey. He went from a king who was about to lose his head to being one of the most critical figures for Roman power in the entire East.
So, what do we take away from all this? I mean, Herod's story is just amazing. It's way more than just some dusty old history. It's like a masterclass in high-stakes diplomacy, in taking calculated risks, and in understanding that sometimes your character is the most valuable thing you have.
This one line from Josephus really just says it all. Now, you gotta understand, Agrippa was Caesar's best friend, his top general, his absolute number 2. For Josephus to say that Herod was beloved by Caesar right after Agrippa, that puts him in the absolute inner circle of the most powerful empire in the world. It just shows how completely he managed to flip the script. He didn't just survive, he reached a level of power and security that was almost unimaginable.
And that kind of leaves us with a really interesting question to chew on, doesn't it? Herod made a bet. He bet that his own integrity, his loyalty, was actually worth more than just switching sides to save his own skin. And for him, that bet paid off, big time. It really makes you wonder. In a world that's all about shifting alliances and backstabbing, maybe that kind of unwavering loyalty is the one thing that's truly rare, and maybe just maybe, the most valuable thing of all?